Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Vicki York, and today I am going to be showing you how I outline in Scrivener. If you don't know what Scrivener is, just a short description of it is that it is a word processor for writers, and it basically gives writers their story all in one program. It's all just a click away. I don't know about you guys, but I know before I started using Scrivener, I used to have a folder saved for my story I was working on, and I would have multiple folders in there within folders of just notes, of chapters, and it would just get really, really confusing. And this program actually enables me to have everything at my fingertips, so I'm not having to scour around in my folders trying to find what I need. It's all right there. So anyways, without further ado, let's just dive in here. I'm going to be going into this as if all the brainstorming has been done and that I've already typed up my outline in Google Docs and everything's ready to just be transferred over. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make a new folder over here in this manuscript area. So to do that, you're going to go to this plus sign right here, and you're going to make sure you hit new folder. And then I do this about 3 times. All right, and then you're going to change these folders' names to Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. And then this step's not really that important, but if you're a visual color coder like I am, then you'll probably definitely want to do this, but I changed the icons. So for Act 1, we'll make that green, and for Act 2, we'll make that red, and for Act 3, we will make that yellow. Perfect. And now we're going to add some scenes. So you'll go over here to Act 1, click on Act 1, and you're going to add new text. So let's add a couple text documents there. And my preferred way of outlining in Scrivener is to use the Corkboard. So over here, you will see this little icon here, and that is the Corkboard. So to show everything as little index cards, you're going to hit Act 1, and there are the 2 new text documents that we just made. So now let's go ahead and get to outlining a story. As an example for this, I'm going to be using Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, mostly just because it's a story that most people know and can follow along with. So for this first card right here, we're going to have Vernon Dursley hates magic and anything that doesn't fit into his cookie cutter neighborhood and life. And then the second card right here, we're going to put Dumbledore meets McGonagall. They drop off Harry Potter in front of his aunt and uncle's doorstep. Okay, so now that we have those scenes in there, this is all going to be a part of Chapter 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another folder within Act 1. Oops. So we'll drag it up here and we'll move both of those in here. So these index cards are going to be all part of Chapter 1, but how you choose to divide up your scenes personally is completely up to you. I'm very detailed with my outlining, and I like to have every single detail all in one place in these cards. So right here, you can add titles to your index cards. So we'll just put normal day for Vernon Dursley, And then in this one, we'll put Harry is left with relatives. And as you can see, everything is over here on the left. We'll change that to chapter 1. So then when you click on chapter 1, it still has everything as a corkboard. So like I said before, I am very, very detailed with my outlines. So what I would do is I would add just a little bit more to my scene cards here, and that's where the notes function right here comes in really handy. So we'll just click right here, a snapshot of the Dursleys and how they hate magic and anything that doesn't fit into their cookie cutter neighborhood and lives. And then we'll go to the next one, which will be a little bit more detailed. So we'll put a strange cat is hanging out in front of the Dursleys' house. Then we'll put a strangely dressed man appears and meets with the cat. Dumbledore and McGonagall are introduced. Hagrid swoops in with baby Harry on a loud flying motorcycle. Dumbledore feels it's best to leave Harry and his aunt and uncle. To leave Harry with his aunt and uncle, though McGonagall is skeptical of this because the Dursleys are super muggles, non-magical people. Okay, and like I said, how detailed you plan to make your index cards on here is completely up to you. Like I said, I have to have a lot of detail. That's just how I am. But you know, we're all different when it comes to writing. So anyways, now that we have chapter 1 pretty much outlined, what I like to do is I like to go next to the outliner. So you can click up here, just really any folder, but for right now, we're just going to hit chapter 1, and you're going to hit this icon right here for the outliner, and this is what it looks like. Being in outliner mode is really nice though, because you can view everything by chapter, you can view everything by Act 1 and just drop it down and see everything by chapters like that. Or you can view the entire manuscript. I know right now we don't have chapters in here, but if we did, everything would show up right here, and you can expand that and look further into your chapters. Outliner on here is really nice just because it is a little bit more customizable. You can add or remove different categories depending on how you choose to outline, and you can also drag to make the columns narrower or wider, like so. Woo! But for me personally, I choose to have my own categories here. So how you do that is you can click this little arrow right here, and you can remove, I don't like to have the label, the status, section type, any of that. Just get that all out of here. So why I like to use the outliner feature on here is for the metadata. And what metadata is that it describes data about other data. So if you're like me, that probably made no sense to you. And I also did not use this feature in Scrivener for the longest time, but once I finally figured it out, it is just so useful to me, and I can't imagine not using it. So metadata is really anything you want it to be to help you keep track of different elements in your novel, or more specifically, the things you want to keep track of. So let's go ahead and go into metadata. So right here, we'll click that, and I like to use metadata for plot-specific items. This helped me with subplots and the main plot elements of my story, as well as any character arcs I have. This enabled me to keep my story together and gave me a little bit of a better snapshot while in outliner mode. So what we're going to do is we're going to go along with our theme of using Harry Potter. So what are some of the different plot elements in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stones that we can keep track of? Well, the first thing we have, let's go ahead and hit this plus button. So the first thing we have is Magic Wizarding World. And we'll go ahead and wrap the text and use a colored text. Let's make that purple. Okay. And then we'll add the plus again, and we'll do Ron, Hermione, and we'll make that one, yeah, we'll make it aqua. And then we've got Quidditch. And for Quidditch, we'll make that orange, tangerine. And then for family, we will use strawberry. No, we'll do carnation. And then the last one we'll use will be Stone / Voldemort. And that one, we'll keep that one red for evil. Okay, so we'll hit OK. So now that we have our custom metadata in here, to get it to show up on Outliner, you're going to go ahead and click right here again, and you'll see all of that right here. So we'll hit Magic, Ron and Hermione, Quidditch, Family, and Stone. Click out of that. Well, let's get this a little bit better organized. Okay, and make that bigger. Okay, now of course there's probably way more elements in Harry Potter that we can think of, but for the sake of this video not getting out of control, we're just going to keep it there. So now we're going to go back to our first chapter here. So now that we know what happens in chapter 1, let's flesh this out a little bit deeper using our custom metadata that we just set up. So for the Wizarding World one, we can put here for this one that Vernon sees a lot of funny dressed people. He overhears the name of his nephew and becomes worried. Okay, and then everything else here. So there's no mention of, Ron and Hermione. There's no mention of Quidditch yet. And then we'll put here for family. The Dursleys are Harry's only family. And then nothing about the stone yet. So then right here, we'll put Dumbledore uses the Deluminator, and the cat transforms into McGonagall. Hagrid flies in on a motorcycle. Okay. So no mention of Ron and Hermione yet, or Quidditch. For family, we'll say Harry is left with his aunt and uncle. And then the stone Voldemort, we'll put it is mentioned in a conversation between Dumbledore and McGonagall that Voldemort met his downfall by trying to kill Harry, but failed. So as you can see here, this is a really nice feature because it gives you a snapshot of the different elements in your novel. I usually like to do this step at the end just so that I can have a view of all my plot elements that are within my story. And the biggest thing I like to look at is there something that shows up blank a lot, and why is that? Also, viewing everything in outliner mode is really nice just because you can kind of see how things line up together. You can see if things are jiving or might need to come early or later in your novel, or if they're just overall unnecessary. And then you'll just repeat this for all your chapters and your scenes. You can use the Corkboard feature or the outliner to move scenes around or even chapters. I prefer using Corkboard for this, but things are pretty easy to move around. You can just drag it around, or if you're like me, I like to have my note cards and you can drag things around that way. And then whenever you're done outlining and you're pretty comfortable with it, or you're just eager to get going, to begin writing, you can do this in different ways. You can either click on a scene and just start writing, or you can go to chapter 1 here, and you'll click on this icon right here where it groups everything into subdocuments for you. So you can click here, normal day for Vernon Dursley right here. And then when you're ready to move on to the next scene, which is Harry is left with his relatives, you just click here and it automatically brings all that information up. So you can view everything all together, or if you're just wanting to just write this scene alone, you can click on that and then everything else will disappear and all that will be there is just this scene. I typically like to write everything by manuscript. That way I can see everything. So this right here would be your Act 1, which I would leave blank, and then Chapter 1, and so on and so on. But really, it's however you want to do it. If you want to concentrate just on your Chapter 1, on Act 1, then by all means, you do you. We all have our process. And that's it. I hope this video was beneficial to you. Maybe it gave you a few pointers on how to use Scrivener. I know Scrivener, to a lot of people when they first get into it, there are so many bells and whistles, and there is a little bit of a learning curve. But I've been using Scrivener for many years and playing around with it and getting to know the features a little bit more and getting everything set up to how I like to use it. But if you do have any questions about Scrivener and would like me to make a video explaining some features or specific things in Scrivener that you might have questions about, just let me know down in the comments. I would love to make you a video and help you out with that. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And if you like videos about writing and books, then I hope that you will give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. I upload new videos every Monday. See you in the next one. Bye.